Arnold strongly disagrees with having a plan B. He believes that if you have a backup plan, you have already given yourself a way out. And that means you won't commit 100% to making plan A work. His mindset is simple. Plan B is to succeed at plan A.
Now, you can see that both Vision and Arnold are talking about full commitment here. No distractions, no fallback. Arnold says that by not having a plan B, you eliminate the temptation to quit. You focus all your energy on making your main goal work, no matter what challenges arise.
Rising, empowered, Liion roars so loud, no fear in this crowd. Passion turns to power now, living life so proud.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Future Builders podcast by Empowered Liion.
This channel is about guiding you to live a life you desire by integrating your passion into your career.
We want to show you how you can make enough money while doing what you truly love. It is not a myth.
And we are doing this right now. Yay!
Yay!
So, Daniel, actually, I was thinking about this. Remember that story that we talked about Richard Feynman last time? The
Yeah.
way he just he just play with the physics for fun, just for fun, without any other purpose, and then end up he won the Nobel Prize.
Mm.
That's truly amazing and mind-blowing. And it got me thinking, right, how important play is when it comes to being productive.
Yeah, I know that example is like an extreme example. It's like not every one of us can do it every time, but it is a great reminder that sometimes it is not about grinding harder, but you actually enjoy the process itself. So that is a huge part of what we covered last time. You know, how energy, curiosity, and even fun are critical to productivity. And speaking of that, right, Ali Abdal's story fits into this perfectly, doesn't it?
Absolutely. So for those who missed it, we spent a very good chunk of last episode talking about Ali's journey. He started as the medical student at Cambridge, top of his class, following the traditional path of success, which everyone knows. But while he was studying medicine, began sharing his study tips and productivity hacks on YouTube instead of doing those videos that has no value at all. At first, he made only 2.27 US dollar, not even $3, and can't even buy a meal from his channel in 2017.
Yeah, so that is really, crazy is that within just 6 years, he turned that side hustle of being a YouTuber into a $10 million business. But here's the thing, he didn't do it by burning himself out or just working harder because we know this is not the way out. And in fact, right, he realized that pretty early on the traditional idea of success, the one where you work non-stop, it wasn't really making him happy.
Right, that was his big revelation. Despite being successful by society standard, studying at one of the top universities in the world, on track to becoming a doctor, everyone thought he would be super successful, he would be a very great doctor, but in himself, he wasn't feeling fulfilled. Through his own exploration and even by studying psychology for an extra year, he actually realized that success doesn't lead to happiness. Instead, it's another way around. So happiness leads to success. Don't get the sequence wrong. That's how he built his approach to productivity.
Correct. And that is the foundation of what Ali calls the feel-good productivity, which we broke down last time. He organizes it into three pillars, which are energize, unblock, and sustain. And it is not about pushing harder again. It is about working in a way that feels good and it is aligned with your personal values.
Yes, under Energize, we have talked about how you can feel your work through play, gaining mastery through your craft, and surrounding yourself with the right people who lift you up. It is all about building the momentum in a way that keeps you energized even when things get tough.
Then we move on to the second pillar, unblock, which is about clearing the obstacles that keep you stuck, whether it's fear, uncertainty, or just not knowing where to begin. Ali's approach here is really practical. First, you seek clarity, then you find the courage to tackle those fears, and then finally, you just get started. Even if it is a small action, the important thing is to move. Like Belle, last time you said that when you face a huge obstacle ahead, the first thing you did was just to read a book and then you know how to move on.
Exactly. If you just stay in one place without any movement, right, you're gonna stuck there forever. So the first step is to step out. And finally, we talk about sustainable is very important. How to keep the progress going once you're on track. We actually explore ideas like conserving your energy by focusing on what matters most, say no to those things that do not align to your values at all, and then taking time to recharge yourself. For example, like the way you take to rest. For example, someone likes to go out, but somebody just like to stay at home alone. So you don't actually burn out. And making sure your work aligns with your bigger life goals. Because let's face it, if you're not aligning with what truly matters to you, even success can feel pretty empty. You will feel that you are not fulfilled at all.
Exactly. And for those of you who missed the last episode, we strongly recommend you to go back and listen to our podcast. And the core message of that episode was very simple. Productivity shouldn't be stressful or draining. When you approach it from a place of feeling good, energized, unblocked, and aligned, you are not only more productive, but you are also more likely to create long-term success without burning out.
Right, and that leads us to the topic today. We are going to dive even deeper into two key concepts from Ali's framework, motivation and the Odyssey plan. Because understanding what truly drives you and having a clear vision for the future are actually super critical if you want to keep that momentum going.
Let's go.
All right, now that we have laid out the foundation with Energize, Block, and Sustain from the last episode, so whoever missed it, go and check it out. Let's get into something that ties all of that together, motivation. We briefly touched on it before, but today we are going to dig deeper into what really drives us.
Yeah, you know what? Well, like motivation is a term not everyone knows. We need to be motivated to do something. Now, motivation is key because even if you've got all the energy in the world, no obstacles in your way, and a plan for sustainability, if you don't know why you are doing what you are doing, it is hard to keep going. That's where understanding the difference between internal and external motivation comes in.
Yes, so last time we talked about how Ali Abdaal realized that the traditional path to success, for example, like working super hard in med school or climbing the career ladder, like what our generation before do, wasn't making him happy at all. The reason why is because he was chasing external rewards, the prestige of being a doctor, good grades, and the approval that comes with it. But he found that even though he was succeeding on paper, internally he felt unfulfilled.
And that is the heart of this whole discussion. External motivation comes from those outside factors like money, recognition, status, or even pressure from others. It can really be effective in pushing you to hit the short-term goals, like hitting the deadlines or getting a promotion, but it is not necessarily what keeps you going in the long run.
And it is not that external motivation is bad, it is just limited. For example, it can get you started. For example, like a lot of people want to work very hard, not because they want to be somebody who are very powerful, but they would just want to get a lot of money as their income source. But once you actually achieve it, you'll feel super unfulfilled because that's not the thing that you truly want. That is where internal motivation comes in. It is driven by your personal satisfaction, your values, and the enjoyment you get from the work itself. It is a stuff that keeps you going even when the external rewards are not there yet. Just like what we are doing right now. We want to help more people, to do whatever they love without worrying about those external factors. So as long as we see that we are helping people, then we feel that we are super happy, super fulfilled. It's not about the money matters anymore.
This is so true, Well. And internal motivation is about finding joy and purpose in what you are doing, like what we are doing right now, no matter what the world says. Think back to Ali's story. When he started making YouTube videos, it wasn't because he expected to make millions of dollars or to be famous. He didn't know that. He just genuinely enjoy sharing his knowledge, experimenting with video creation, and helping people to be more productive. That internal drive is what made him stick with it, even when the monetary rewards wasn't there yet.
And it is quite interesting because the internal passion eventually led to the external rewards. But the key was that Ali didn't start out chasing those rewards. He focused on what made him happy, and success followed. That is why internal motivation is so much more sustainable. It is not reliant on anyone else's validation.
I think that is a huge takeaway for anyone listening right now. If you are only driven by external goals like a paycheck or recognition, you are going to hit a wall at some point. Definitely, I would tell you. But if you can tap into what excites you, what fulfills you personally, you'll be much more resilient when challenges come up.
And that is where these two types of motivation intersect. You can absolutely start with external drives, like getting a job promotion or hitting a certain financial goal. But you have to balance it with internal drives. You cannot just focus on only external factors. You must focus on your internal motivation as well. For example, like what is your mission? You have to know your mission clearly so you won't get lost. Ask yourself, what do I enjoy about the work itself? How does this align with my bigger values?
Exactly. And speaking of this, right, I want to bring up Elon Musk. I mean, he's definitely a controversial figure. Like some people love him so much, but others cannot just stand him at all. But his story is fascinating when we talk about motivation.
Oh, I love Elon Musk. He's such a perfect example.
Yeah, so quick story about him. Back in 1995, he started his first company, Zip2. Most people don't know about this because when people talk about Elon Musk, they only know Tesla or SpaceX. But Zip2 was the first company he founded. So that was a kind of an online city guide that helped newspapers build a presence on the internet. Then 4 years later, in 1999, he sold it for around $300 million. That was his first big success.
Wow, that's crazy. $300 million in just 4 years. That's much powerful than Ali Abdul. But people, we are not making a comparison here. Both are successful people, and just that their focus are different.
Yeah, agree. And back then he was definitely driven by external motivation because Elon Musk, he needed the money. He just came to the US for a few years only. So he wasn't wealthy and started Zip2 was about solving problems and building something valuable. Sure, but that financial success was a huge motivator for him.
I mean, who would not want to be motivated by that, right? He could have retired, live a super comfortable life, and just call it a day.
Exactly. But instead, what does he do? He takes all that money and pours into SpaceX and Tesla, the two industries at that time, right? No, nobody believed it could be successful. Okay, so those are insane ideas like space exploration and electric cars.
Is at the time because people are all with traditional mindset. That sounds too crazy for everyone because like who does that?
Yeah, so for someone driven by serious internal motivation, which is him, he never just thought about making money. It was about his larger vision for humanity. He has this deep belief in the need to make humans a multiplanetary species. And because of that internal drive, he risked everything to the point where he nearly went bankrupt in 2008 with Tesla and again in 2017 with SpaceX.
Right, those were tough times, but I'm so impressed because he was down to his last bit of funding and everything could have collapsed. But he just, just never give it up. So I think he is a very good role model for all of us.
Yeah, he just kept pushing because of his internal motivation, his personal values, and the future he envisions for humanity. And let's look at him now. Tesla is leading the way with some of the most advanced self-driving technology in the world. And just a few weeks ago, SpaceX became the first commercial company in the world to complete a spacewalk.
That's incredible. And it really shows the power of internal motivation, even when the external rewards were not guaranteed. When the money was running out, he kept going because he believes so deeply in his vision. So the key point is you must always believe in the vision, although it seems so difficult or tough to achieve it.
That is spot on. And when internal and external motivation align, that's when things really start to click. You are not only motivated by the tangible rewards, but you are also fueled by something deeper, something that keeps you going even when it gets tough. It's like having a dual engine. The external keeps you focused on goals, and then the internal keeps you emotionally invested.
And that is the secret to staying motivated in the long term. If you can find that sweet spot where what you do aligns with both of your internal passion and the external rewards, then you are in a position to create sustainable success.
Yeah, so we can try to link it back with what we discussed last time. When you energize yourself through play, mastery, and the right people, you tap into that internal drive. And when you unblock your path by facing fears and seeking clarity, you remove the external pressures that often hold you back. Ultimately, both internal and external motivation work together to sustain your progress.
And that is why it is so important to know what really motivates you. Not just the surface level stuff like money or recognition, but the deeper internal reasons that keep you going.
That's true.
All right, now that we have unpacked motivation, let us move on to a concept that really takes this into the next level, designing your life. This is where Ali Abdul introduced something called the Odyssey Plan. And I think it is one of the most powerful tools for planning your future.
Right. The Odyssey plan is an approach borrowed from the book Designing Your Life, and it is all about thinking creatively about your future. Instead of getting locked into one rigid path, it encourages you to explore multiple possibilities. You are not just planning for one version of your life, you are designing three different life paths for the next 5 years.
Exactly. It is such a freeing way to think about your future because let's face it, life is unpredictable. Just like what I usually say, life is full of unexpectation. The Odyssey plan helps you explore not just what you think you should do, but also what you could do if you gave yourself the chance to dream a little.
That is really important. So the first path you design is the current path. This is the life that you are already on, basically an extension of what you are doing now. It is the plan where you continue with your current job, the goals, the lifestyle, maybe making some adjustments, but staying largely on the same track.
Yes, it is like taking the momentum you already have and projecting it forward. But what I like about this is that it is not necessarily the safe option. It just shows you what happens if you keep doing what you're doing.
And this is important because even if you are happy with your current path, it is always worth looking at where it could take you in the long term. It gives you a clearer vision of what that life will look like 5 years from now. So one simple example would be if you are working in the corporate world, just look at your manager or your boss. Know uh, what they are doing right now, not just in their professional life, but also in their personal life. So you can see, in 5 years time, you will most likely be in their position.
That is just for people who are happy with their current situation. But what about those of you who feel stuck, unsatisfied, or even frustrated with where you are right now? If you're not happy with your current path, this is an even bigger opportunity. Think about it. If you're already feeling unfulfilled, that is a signal that something needs to change. The Odyssey plan can help you map out what those changes could look like.
Yes, and if you are not satisfied, it is not about making drastic decisions overnight. It's about giving yourself permission to imagine different possibilities. You ask yourself, what would be a better version of my life look like? What are the things I'm doing now that do not align with my values or the kind of future that I want to build?
Yep, for those of you who are feeling like your current job or lifestyle is draining your energy, now is the time to really think about why that is. It is because you are not passionate about the work itself, or maybe it is because you are missing that sense of purpose, or even just the excitement you once had. That is where designing a new path becomes so powerful. You are not stuck where you are, you have the ability to map out a new direction, and the Odyssey plan gives you a framework to do just that.
That is the key point, is that you don't have to abandon your current situation immediately. You can start small, making small adjustments and testing different ideas. So you can create options for yourself so that when you are ready to make a change, you know what direction to head in, whether it is switching careers or starting a new side project or even just finding more balance in your life.
Then there is the second path, which is the backup. This is your plan B. What you would do if something unexpected happens. Maybe your industry changes, your job becomes obsolete, or something external forces you to pivot. The backup plan helps you to think about how you could adapt if life throws you a curveball. Just like someone once said, when life gives you lemon, make the lemonade.
And guys, I want to tell you that it is not about expecting failure, in the coming years. It is about being flexible and prepared. When you have a backup plan, you are not caught off guard if things go sideways. It helps you stay resilient because you already have an idea of what your next step would be if your current path does not work out.
Absolutely. And I remember and also once said, when you don't seek for transformation, the growth will come to you by giving you hard times in your life. So always get yourself prepared and never stop growing and learning.
True.
And then we get to the third path, which is my personal favorite, the wild card. This is the life you would design if money, fear, and social expectations were not an issue. What would you do if you could truly follow your heart and passion without any constraints?
This is where the magic happens. The wildcard plan is where you get to dream big and think outside of the box. It encourages you to tap into your deepest desires and envision what your ideal life could look like. Even if it feels far-fetched, the point is to explore the possibilities.
Yes, and here is the thing. When you give yourself permission to think this way, you often find that parts of your wildcard life are more attainable than you thought. It is about breaking down those mental barriers that say, this is not realistic, and instead asking, what if it could be?
That is spot on. And the beauty of the Odyssey plan is that it encourages you to be flexible, open-minded, and be intentional about your future. You are not just locked into one single version of success. You are actively designing multiple versions of your life, and that gives you the freedom to adjust as things change.
Yes, and speaking of designing your life, it reminds me of something Vishen Lakhiani discusses in his book, The Buddha and the Badass, which we will be covering in a future episode. He talks about dreaming bigger and says that if all of our plans are certain to succeed, we are probably not dreaming big enough. In fact, he suggests that if 50% of your goals do not work out, it is a sign that your dreams are ambitious enough. But here's the kicker: Vision advises against having a backup plan.
Yes, so that is the key point. Vision argues that having a backup plan almost sets you up for failure. Because when you prepare for the failure, you are subconsciously telling yourself that failure is an option by having a backup plan. So his philosophy is that you should go all in on your vision without a safety net, because it forces you to find a way to make your plan succeed no matter what.
And that ties into what Arnold Schwarzenegger said in his book, Be Useful, which we actually covered 2 episodes ago. Arnold strongly disagrees with having a plan B. He believes that if you have a backup plan, you have already given yourself a way out. And that means you won't commit 100% to making plan A work. His mindset is simple. Plan B is to succeed at plan A.
Exactly. Now you can see that both Vision and Arnold are talking about full commitment here. No distractions, no fallback. Arnold says that by not having a plan B, you eliminate the temptation to quit. You focus all your energy on making your main goal work, no matter what challenges arise.
And that's what makes this such an interesting conversation because it is almost the opposite of what Ali Abdal's recommends with the Odyssey plan. Ali suggests designing multiple life paths, including a backup, to give yourself flexibility in case things don't go as planned. Vision and Arnold, on the other hand, saying having a backup means you're already preparing to fail. So, which approach should you follow?
That's the big question. There's actually no clear right or wrong answer here. It really depends on your mindset and how you approach risk. Ali's approach with the Odyssey plan is about being pragmatic and adaptable. Vision and Arnold's approach is about total commitment and betting everything on your main goal.
And then you know what? Actually, I can find the relation between two arguments, Like Vision once said, if you have a lot of goals, right, as long as they're ambitious enough, there are 50% of chance for it to fail. And don't be afraid of failing on your goals. I think although he said we should all in into the plan A, but there's still 50% of chance that we might fail, right? So instead of like having a plan B, I guess what he wanted to say is like we should all go all in, but we do not need to be afraid of failing because we can always try and try again. At most, we just change another method. What do you think?
I think that is a good point, Belle.
Yeah, and the beauty of this discussion is that it forces you to think about how much risk you are willing to take. Do you want the security of a backup plan, or do you thrive under pressure of making plan A work at all cost?
Ultimately, it really just comes down to knowing yourself and what drives you. Some people need the flexibility to adapt, while others are fueled by that all or nothing mentality. There's no one size fits all answer, just the approach that works the best for you.
By the way, Daniel, on a personal level, which one would you more inclined to? Having a plan B or go all into plan A?
For me, right, I have always been taking the path where I just want to do it. I quitted my job without backup income stream, and I shut down my company when it was on a growth trajectory. But it is more inclined to what Vision said. I've got a lot of goals that I want to achieve. I've actually done other stuff that failed also. Okay, so these are the ones that I've been successful. Okay, so I think it is good to just do whatever that you want to do, and then something will just be successful to yourself.
Yes, I guess what you want to say is you should follow what makes you happy and you feel aligned with your goal at that time, and success will come to you, right?
Mm,
That sounds very much like Arnold. He changed his career path for 3 times, all at the peak of his career.
yeah. And how about you, Belle?
For me, actually, I experienced a very big transformation for my life. So 3 years ago, I will always have a plan B before I move on because I feel like it is not safe for me to just take the risk. Maybe I was still very young, then my risk tolerance was not that high. But nowadays, I'm slowly changing into like go all in because I think instead of keep waiting for the plan B to be there, like perfectly there, why don't we just like move on to plan A first? Then if anything happens, we just see how. But for me, the criteria for me to move into plan A, right, is that I will think for the worst situation. If the worst situation comes one day, what will I be? Will I be still fine or I will struggle a lot and I could not bear the stress? If I can't bear the stress, right, I will just I will just think another method, which is a safer method.
Yeah, guys, I want to tell you that it is always never you'll be ready for something that you have never done before. So let's come back to feel good productivity. What makes this whole approach so impactful is that it is not about just designing paths for success. It is about making sure that the path you choose feels good. Because when you are energized, when your actions are aligned with your values, and when you remove all the obstacles holding you back, that is when the true progress happens.
Exactly. Ali encourages us to evaluate each of these plans based on 4 key factors: resources, enjoyment, confidence, and lastly, alignment with your values. That last one is crucial because if you want to do the things that is not aligned with your values, even the most successful plan is going to feel empty.
Precisely. So it is not about making more money or achieving status. It's about making sure that your life feels meaningful and aligned with who you truly are. The Odyssey plan helps you to map out which path is going to bring you the most fulfillment in the long run.
Right. It is about giving yourself the flexibility to adapt and change direction, but also ensuring that whatever path you choose is in harmony with a bigger vision for your life. The Odyssey plan is not just about planning, it is about creating a life that feels deeply connected to your personal values and long-term goals.
And that's why this whole exercise is so powerful. It forces you to think beyond the day-to-day grind and really ask yourself, what kind of life do I want to create? It's not making sense on paper, but it is about what makes you alive and purposeful.
So, whether you are satisfied with your current path or considering a change, the Odyssey plan is a great tool to help you explore different versions of your future. It keeps you grounded in reality, but also gives you the freedom to dream big.
And even if you do not follow the plans that you have planned, not exactly step by step, the real value is in gaining clarity and being flexible. Once you have considered different possibilities, you are more prepared for whatever life throws your way.
Yes, never be afraid to dream big, but it has to be aligned with your goals. So that's pretty much the core of Ali's feel good productivity approach. Energizing yourself, unblocking obstacles, and designing a life that is in alignment with your values. It is a framework that makes success feel more sustainable and meaningful.
100%. But before we wrap up, there is one important factor I think is missing from the book, and it is something that has a huge impact on productivity, which is exercise and health.
Oh, Daniel, I'm so glad that you brought that up because, we have talked a lot about mental and emotional energy, but physical health actually plays such a massive role in how productive and energized you feel every day without a healthy body, because without a good physical health, right, you won't have the mood to stay motivated and even to achieve your mission.
Yes, and exercising, sleeping, and overall wellness are crucial to sustain the kind of energy you need for the long-term success.
And studies show that regular exercise not only boosts physical energy, but also improve mental clarity, focus, and even creativity. It is like recharging your mind and body at the same time. And I think for me personally, I'm always in navigation mode when I'm doing my exercise. I will just go and seek a lot of ideas. And once I finish my exercise, right, I will suddenly have a lot of new ideas to improve and power Liion.
Yes, this is what I have experienced when I am meditating. So when I'm doing meditation, although no, I'm required to think about nothing, but no thoughts just come out. I've got a lot of new ideas after meditation. So this is where I think the book could have gone deeper in this aspect. So when you incorporate regular exercise in your routine, it does not just improve your physical health, it directly impacts your productivity, your mood, and your ability to handle stress.
Because let's face it, success is not just about reaching goals, it is about feeling good while you are doing it. And if you are neglecting your health, no amount of planning or goal setting will make up for that lack of energy.
In this sense, right, it actually reminds me of my sister's boss. Now, he is an incredibly successful in terms of wealth, but he is actually overweight. And now he is in his 50s. Instead of enjoying life, he has to think about legacy planning. He is actively worrying about what will happen if he passes away suddenly.
Wow, that's heavy. I mean, sure, legacy planning is something we should all consider as we get older, just in case something unexpected happens, like an accident, but it should not consume your thoughts every day. If you are taking care of your health, you do not have to constantly worry that your body will malfunction earlier than expected.
Exactly. It is one thing to plan for the future, but if you are neglecting your body, it catches up with you. And when your physical health starts to deteriorate, it affects everything, your ability to work, your energy levels, and even your mindset.
Right. If you are burnt out physically, it is hard to maintain any level of consistent productivity, no matter how well you have designed your life. Just like my classmate 2 years ago, she just dropped out from our course because her mental health and physical health just can't take it at all. That's why I think incorporating a regular health and exercise routine should be a non-negotiable part of any productivity plan.
Totally. You can have the most ambitious career goals, a clear life plan, and all the motivation in the world. But if your health is not in check, it is like building a house on a shaky foundation. Your body and mind need to be strong to sustain the kind of energy and focus required for long-term success.
So, everyone, we have covered a lot today, from Ali Abdal's Feel Good Productivity Framework to how crucial it is to keep your health and exercise routine front and center if you want to sustain long-term success.
And remember, whether you are designing your life paths or working on maintaining your energy, it all comes down to balance. Aligning your goals with your values, staying flexible with your plans, and make sure that your health is supporting all of that.
And that is really the key. You cannot build a successful, fulfilling life if you are ignoring the most important part. Your physical and mental well being should always be part of the plan, not an afterthought.
Absolutely. So, as we wrap up, there's one takeaway from today's episode. The key takeaway is this: do not focus just on success for the sake of success. Focus on building a life that feels good, that supports your health, and that aligns with what really matters to you.
And on that note, we will leave you with a challenge. Take a look at your current life path and ask yourself, is this aligned with what I truly value? If not, it might be time to make some changes, whether that is in your career, your habits, or even your health routine.
That is a great place to start. And remember, if you are feeling stuck or unsure about your next move, head over to www.empoweredlion.com/s to take the Stay or Slay quiz. It is a great tool to help you determine whether you should stay in your current position or make that transformative leap towards something new.
Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Future Builders podcast by Empowered Liion. We have more great topics coming your way, so be sure to follow our channel. Stay tuned. Bye!
Living truths, no more dreaming. Empowered Liion, roar so loud, no fear in this crowd. Passion turns to power now, living life so proud. Life's a journey worth living, heart and soul we're giving. Synergy is in the air, united we declare. Life's a journey worth living, heart and soul we're giving. Synergy is in the air, united we declare.